to make decisions. Effective decision making looks so easy when some people do it, but what is it exactly that they do right, you know?
I'd like to know that. Here with more is author
Right.
and trainer Jeffrey Benjamin with Breakthrough Training.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning. Well, they do affect us. They affect us. They
Yeah.
affect our family. They affect
true.
our coworkers.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
they don't only affect us, they affect all the people that are in our lives at the same time. So we got to make sure that we make right decisions, not
Yeah.
only for ourselves, but the people that we care that are surrounding us at the same time.
Definitely.
So there are a couple tools that you can utilize
Good.
in order to get better at it. But one of the things that I like to ask people to do is to really isolate the real problem or isolate their dilemma.
Okay.
Because what most people do is they sometimes throw it out of proportion. So what's the real issue here? Is the real issue that you need to buy a new home? Is the real issue that you need to get your kids into private school or public school or home school? What really is the real issue? Sometimes people want to buy a new house. Well, why do you want to buy the new house? What's the real issue? Is it because you maybe don't like your kitchen at the time? So maybe it's not buying a new house. Maybe it's staying in the house that you're in currently, but it's remodeling the kitchen. So being able to really isolate what is the real problem. And keep asking yourself that. What's the real problem? And then when you think you know what the real
Yeah.
problem is, ask yourself, is this the real problem?
And that takes some depth. You really got to sit there and think for some of these bigger decisions.
That's exactly it. Some of them are instantaneous
Sure.
when we make decisions fast,
Yeah.
but when they're a little bit larger, we need to take a little bit more time so that we make the right decision. So that's also coming up with what your options are at the same time. So the second tool,
Yeah.
after you've been able to isolate what the real dilemma or what the real problem is figuring out and listing the pros and cons of each option.
Sure.
Should I turn right or should I turn left, right?
Should
Yeah.
I buy or not buy?
Yeah, should I buy or
Right.
not buy? And really, if it's a tough decision, I say grab pen and paper,
Write
write
down.
that option at the top of the page, draw a line down the middle, pros on one side, cons on the other, and really start to list them. Then you're able to kind of weigh your decision, so to speak. And then after you've done that, set that aside, put the other option at the top there. It really helps kind of get all this stuff out of your head onto paper so you can really take a good look at it and really understand which way should I go. You may have a short list of cons and a whole list of pros on that particular option. So that really helps you to make the right and effective decision.
I know
That's
a lot
good.
of times with, I've mentioned this to people, especially if they can't make the decision on this and they're kind of waffling back and forth, sit down and list the pros, list the cons
Right.
over there. Oh, yeah, that means that will work. Well, yeah, it will because you have them all down on paper rather than all up here, which kind of gets
which
jumbled.
you're kind of going back and
Yeah,
forth
right.
on. This just tells you, and not everything's black and white, but this helps to kind of give you that perspective, and maybe too, if you need to involve someone else in the decision-making process.
Absolutely, and that's very important too when you're doing your pros and
Yeah.
cons. Pull in your family, pull in your friends, hey, have them help you. So you,
some ideas.
yeah, so you can
Yeah.
come up with the right information, or you can gather correct information so you can list those pros and cons. Now I'm not saying that you need to do this all the time. People do it unconsciously on those smaller decisions, but the larger ones, really, it's important for you because it's going to affect your life and other people's. Get those pros and cons out there, list them,
Great.
figure it out. So I have one more.
The bonus
tool.
I was going to ask
Or
about the bonus tool.
Right, now this one, let's say that you've done the pros and cons and you're really not sure intellectually. What you really need to do is you'll need to listen to your gut feeling, right?
Good.
That
That's
is
good.
very true. Sometimes you have people who are out there trying to give you all these ideas. My gut's telling me this, and they're saying, well, I think you ought to do, my gut's telling me this.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen to that intuition, and maybe you've come up with the pros and cons, and you should go one direction, but your gut is telling you to go to the other direction. I always tell people, follow your gut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you've already done the research. Maybe your inside unconscious mind is telling you something else that you just can't really put your finger on, I say, listen to your gut, go with your intuition.
Good.
So those are three great ones anyone can utilize.
Those are awesome, Jeffrey, and that's a great way to kick off the work week, too. And if you have any suggestions or questions for Jeffrey Benjamin, you can contact him at 337-1600 or go to breakthroughtraining.com. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Great to see you
That
guys.
was great. Yeah, thanks for coming in on this Monday. Have a good week.